That was amazing, Star Smart. That was a great one there. We brought this up because it has to do with human rights issues and the involvement of Amazonia in the war. We thought that you, the lawyers, will be able to help us make a distinction between what is a legitimate fight for independence like ours and those who are committing crimes against humanity. So I will hand over the mic to you, Barrister Fro and Barrister Team, to make a brief commentary there with regards to the current discussion on human rights in Geneva that is trending in the Cameroons for over 2 weeks now, and so that we can focus on what is necessary this evening. I'll begin with you, Barrister Fru.
Yes, thank you, Paddy. I was very, very keen listening to the human rights expert who was speaking. He started with French and started speaking English, and he presented quite a number of human rights violations that he documented. But I like to think that they just it is just a tip of the iceberg, because the number of human rights violations within the period concerned is much appalling. Take the beheading of Sam Sawyer. Take the way Alphonse, who is still living now in Kondenge prison. You that famous video that you saw those gendarmes climbing on him, put a chair, and they put their boots on him, and they were beating his legs and with cutlass and so on, and in mud. That video is very popular. They made no mention of that. There are many other human rights violations, like the killings on the streets in Bamenda, the killings throughout the southern Cameroons during the period. This human rights organization did not mention it, but I would also give him credit for mentioning the few that he mentioned, like what happened in Kwakwa, what happened in other villages. But he left out the fact that a baby of 4 months was shot by military men on a chair that she was sleeping on when the mother was cooking in the kitchen in Muyuka. Baby matter. I didn't hear that. It looks like they just gave a few and asked Cameroon to explain. I don't know. I wouldn't say that, because I wasn't there. I was not there. But what we saw is what we listened. That is my immediate reaction. That there was a lot that was left out. Uh, that is all I can say for now. Until we listen to
Yeah,
the side of the government.
I'll just like to add some flesh. He gave a very, I think it was a sound report at the time allocated. I'm not sure that he would have, what they say in French, mentionné tout ce que tu dis. So I'm not sure he would have been able to highlight everything. But the report came as a great intervention and consolation to the people of Amazonia who would have just listened to Cameroon's human rights report. And I believe Barrister Mbesia has spent time for close to 2 weeks now discussing on it. I want to get his opinion on that.
Yeah.
Well, this is my take. Until now, maybe most of us, or many of us, or at the best, some of us, we didn't know that this review is periodical. They review it once in 2 years. The first that we were aware of was in 2019. The second one was in 2021. And now we have this 2024, which is a follow up. And so we are not aware of that. But what's important to me is seeing the reporter there. The man was reading they are complained about. That guy is not an Ambazonian, one. He's not even a Cameroonian, two. But the details that he gave about what everything he cited as violations is sufficient to make us believe that they have a lot of work. They have done a lot of work. They cover almost everything there. So, in spite of the denial of Yaoundé, I think they have enough evidence to hold Cameroon accountable. What is their fault? What can they do with what they have? I don't know. I've not read the convention. But again, let us be reminded that this particular one, this review of last week, was entitled Torture. They focused essentially on torture. And so you find Cameroon in their first line of defense, in their statement, it was not even a defense. He said Cameroon is a democratic country with the rule of law. That's your line of defense. Technically, very intelligent. These people, nothing catches them by surprise. And what do you call laws in Cameroon? A few of the laws passed through parliament, which is still the Presidential Act. The bulk of the laws are presidential decrees. And so they know what they're doing, they do all those things, but they cover themselves with the theory of a state of law. I find if you read the report, I saw it's quite long. You find them everywhere they cite a law that has been passed to protect people left and right, that has been passed to prohibit this and left and right. And so again, I said last week, Cameroon is a very bad country. They don't lack laws. No, they have laws on everything in the books. Everything they do is against a law they have provided themselves in their books. And so they are perpetual violators of laws, criminals in the first order. I get the example. This is the Criminal Procedure Code. This is a law on how people should be caught, how people should be detained, how they should be investigated, how they should be tried. This is the law here. This is a code. But they don't respect even a single article of it. Article 30, for example, talks about arrest warrant. I'm taking an example. How to arrest people. The police officer must go there, identify himself with
Yeah.
an order from the court. But all of us
Yeah.
know, everybody in Cameroon knows, they don't do that. They don't respect that even their own court. I've said
Yeah.
before, they have something very common in Cameroon in general called Kale Kale. It is
Yeah.
prohibited in this code, but that's the order of the day. That's what they do. But that not being the case, you see what I say was torture. If you see what the examples they gave there in that report,
Yeah.
in that complaint, the examples are very specific on torture. The
Yeah.
names they gave, Longue Longue, they gave Raymond Kuta, they gave journalist Paul,
Mm-hmm.
they gave Martinez Zogo.
Chuta. Paul
These are
Chuta.
all journalists. Yeah, these are all journalists who have been tortured. And they
Yeah.
gave examples how they went to Gabon and brought people back without extradition. These are people not joking. This is written down. This is part of their report. And what would you see Cameroon do? They will tell you, well, in fact, in their last review of 2021, I guess, the issue of Wazizi came up.
Yeah.
And if you read the whole report now, it came up again because they have not resolved the issue. What did they say? What did
Yeah.
Cameroon say? Cameroon said matter closed. Do you believe that those people listening to Cameroon are satisfied that the matter is closed? Certainly not. They are not. And so there's report again. In addition to putting all these things there, which is torture, they went beyond the point to repeat the incidences of Southern Cameroon. Garbo, they didn't happen now. The burning of the villages, they are not now.
Mm-hmm.
All this mentioned there, they occurred in 2019, 2020. They were reviewed in 2019. They were reviewed in 2021. In the review came up this. Today it is coming up. In other words, They are not yet satisfied with what Yaoundé has given them as a reply. So they are doing a good job. The problem we face all the time is, as I've said earlier, what is the power of this committee? That's investigating because Cameroon has signed up to the torture convention. What do they do with it? If you read the whole report again, which I've had the opportunity to read part of it, they talk of mass graves. They have them. They give the examples.
Mhm.
Swat, some in Boya. And of course, Cameroon, like you and
Khartoum.
me, Mr. Like Mr. Sonos, they will not come and admit it. They will say, no, we never did it. They deny before the court is not evidence of not being guilty. They are guilty in most of those things. But we face the problem that most human rights to that level all over the world, they are actually effectively sanctioned only after the regime has fallen. Because you don't expect Yaoundé to conduct investigators to swear and say, well, this is what very people are there. They will not do it. Because even when the investigators come with the machines to find out those things, they are led there by the government officials. So when government is still in power, it's almost impossible for
To
them to
do
have the
anything.
rare to have the rare punishment that we need. But we should convince ourselves that these things are in the records. They are actually in the records. That's why I said these people are not Cameroonians. At best, they are not even Amazon, and they are not even Africans. But that thing you are reading from a computer, so there's a database, there's information stored there. Again, as I said earlier, we have our own brothers and sisters in Cameroon doing journalism, doing human rights reporting. But we must admit the fact that to do human rights reporting in Cameroon is a very difficult task. You are putting your life at risk. Those of them who do it, we should praise them for doing it. But as I urged earlier, they will do a better job if, in addition to what they are writing in their own report, they send some of this sensitive information to the people who are outside, like that guy reading from the computer. Because it is the truth. If you want to do it the way we want, they will kill you. They will simply kill you. That's the mark of the regime.
So you're
And I
actually
can then,
giving you're giving them a
yeah,
strategy.
let me take it up to Ekpa and Ayaba. Well, Ayaba in Norway, Ekpa in Finland. This is not Nigeria, where Ekpa belongs. This is not Cameroon, where in quote Ayaba belongs. But it tells us that there's no hiding place for you where you commit human rights violations. They will pick you up where necessary. And so, again, I don't know the facts about EPA, but let us deal with Ayaba. That we know very, very well. All the human rights violations, all the crimes alleged committed by Ayaba were committed against us, Ambazonians, against his own brothers and sisters. None of those alleged crimes was committed against the Republic of Cameroon.
Mm.
So he cannot even cover himself in the pretext that he was fighting a war because it's
And
not
so
if he
this
was fighting.
serves the logic for us to say that he was a proxy of the colonial government.
I don't even know whether he was working for them, but he committed those acts. He
Yeah,
committed those acts. There's evidence there. He shot people in Garbo in a Gozan market.
on
We don't
camera.
know
Yeah.
whether you ordered him to do it, but he admitted doing it. They are burning people's taxis and doing everything. We don't know whether you ordered him, but he admitted doing it. These taxis are owned by Ambazonians. The two guys, for example, in Gozan are Gozan people. They are Ambazonians. So without stretching even too far for Yaoundé, because Yaoundé, you know that the Yaoundé will say, we never did it anyway. But why would Cho Ayaba, a human being in the first place, and a Bazonian in the second place, choose to bring this havoc on his own people?
I think he
And
got
think,
so angry, particularly in
yeah,
Gozang, because he was
yes,
rejected by the people of Momo
yes.
and
I,
he
I,
couldn't bear
that,
it.
that
So he
reminds
thought
that
they were
reminds
going to
him
shoot
only that.
their husbands on the street to actually prove to the world that he can discipline them and correct them, but he got them more radicalized. Just go ahead. I was just
Yeah.
trying to add into the
Eh,
conversation.
That reminds us that you and me sitting here and talking in the name of this struggle. We're in the United States, some of us are in London. We are not going to order the chopping of people's heads in Manfe, in Kumba, in Donga Mountain, wherever, in the pretext that we're fighting a war and go free. There's no hiding place for
criminal.
anybody. So that's the lesson I think we take from it. Cho Ayaba,
Okay.
you have your day in court or whatever thing. Even if you set free today, after having spent 2, 3 months in detention, call it whatever thing you call it. No human being, no normal human being wants to go and spend 3 months in jail.
Yeah.
It is really a lesson to him, to his supporters, and to us who are prosecuting the revolution. There's no hiding place for you to do that on people. And I think, as far
Yeah.
as we're
But
concerned,
there's a lot that has been spoken. I want us to coordinate it well, so that
okay,
we can, on top of the hour, we'll need to be going into the Zoom meeting. So, by Stafru, you've heard it all. I want you to add some flesh to it. I know you have been boiling. There's so much for you to say, and you
No,
want to
no.
collate. Yeah,
Yes, I want to say that Ekpa and Ayaba are both criminals in the international arena. Ayaba has done not just what my dear colleague had mentioned. He also killed a lot of people in Mancon, in Bui, through his orders. He ordered the execution of General Ivo, and he was executed. This Epa man, from what I'm reading, is the one who has finally killed the Dio of Diabato. That is kidnapping and killing. Because I listened to an audio where the family was proposing $37,000, and the man on the other end was saying that's not enough. Go look for more money. And below and below, we saw the body hanging on a balançoire, we call it, killed by the people led by this guy Ekpa. At the command of this guy Ekpa, they make money by kidnapping. That is the body I'm talking about. They make money by kidnapping and torture, and you pay, or by execution if you don't pay. So they are in for it. I read the court's notations on Ayaba's continuous detention, and he's been detained up to the 14th of January 2025. In which case the prosecution will add not only crimes against humanity, they have other charges to add, and again to prevent him from tampering with evidence. And he's being detained under strict detention, cannot communicate with the outside world except his immediate relative, the wife, once a week. So that is where we are. There are people who are bent on killing Ambazonians. The Dio of Ediabato may be working for La Republique, but it's an Ambazonian that was kidnapped by a past people and ransom asked in millions of dollars. These guys the family ran around and got $37,000. It was not enough for them because these are guys who live big, and they decided to take the Dio's life. That is where we are. Those are the people who are tied to the Cameroon would like to make Ayaba a leader, the leader of the Ambazonian struggle, when he is actually working for the Cameroon government and the Cameroon army. There is evidence. There is evidence to show that Ayaba was a proxy for La République du Cameroun. What is that evidence? Some arms were caught in a Bolova by a lady who is a colonel in the gendarmerie, and Colonel Bankwi issued an order. This is documented. Issued an order ordering her to release those arms because they are important, because they are going to a group among the Ambazonians fighting La République du Cameroun. There is also eyewitness evidence that a helicopter from La République du Cameroun dropped arms in Batibo, somewhere in Numen or some place like that. They come there and drop arms for Ayaba. Ayaba was not only being paid money, he was also being armed by La République du Cameroun through Colonel Bankwi and others, even from the Ministry of Defense, which is attached to the presidency. Ayaba was receiving arms and receiving money. We have heard an audio between Ayaba's lieutenants like Capo Daniel and a colonel in the Ministry of Defense in Yaoundé talking about Capo Daniel having received money and has not delivered the goods. At that time, Capo Daniel was still very much tied to Ayaba, even though he pretentiously claimed now that he is not. But he is, for all intensive purposes, we know that he is still attached to Ayaba. Even the crimes that they accuse Ayaba of, he too is an accomplice. I don't know what the Norwegian authorities are doing to also interrogate him, because he has moved from Hong Kong to Canada. We trace their movement, you know. He has moved from Hong Kong to Canada. He now lives in Canada. Another individual that the Norwegian authorities are supposed to be looking at is a man called Ashu Lucas. Ashu Lucas is the spokesman of Ayaba, who came on the air and confirmed that they ordered the killing of those two people in Guzang Market for their crimes committed against them. Ashu Lucas he lives in Canada. So there are many accomplices of Ayaba dotted here, even right here in the United States, somewhere in Minnesota. So Ayaba is a well-known criminal, just like Ekpa. And like it always happens, no criminal goes scot-free. He's caught one way or the other along the line. It's not strange that Ayaba is in detention and Ekpa is in detention.
I think you would have said a lot there, Barrister Messi. I don't know if you want to add to that. If not, I want us to move forward. Let's talk a little
Yeah.
bit. You want to add some flesh to that?
Yes. Let me just add
Yes.
two short things that are very
No, please go
important.
ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead, please.
we'll go back to the hearing in Geneva. And I tell you that
Yeah.
Cameroon is a very dangerous country. If you follow the hearings, they were pinned to the wall on prolonged detentions in jail.
Yeah.
They realized
Yeah.
as soon as they got finished, they came back to Yaoundé. The next day, Monday, Calix Etoga, who is secretary of the gendarmerie, issued a circular addressed to all regional commanders of the gendarmerie and so on and so forth, telling them,
Mm-hmm.
in principle, detention beyond this time is not allowed. They want to cover
Yeah.
themselves because we know that they will not
Yes.
follow those instructions. They want to have a document in the
Mhm.
file. In the next review, they'll say, we're a country of laws. We'll put out this order. That's what they will do. Then, again, let me go back a little bit to the death of the sous-prefet. Whatever killed him, I've said it and I repeat it here. His death lies squarely in the hands of the government of Yaoundé. They killed him. They sent him to an area unprotected. One. They refused to pay ransom to get him back. Two.
Yeah,
But they have been paying ransom to get their own people back.
yeah.
Why did they not pay ransom to get this young man, who is the personal representative of the president, out?
He's an Ambazonian.
Simply, he's an Amazonian. But that's not all. After we sang this song and cried this cry throughout the week, yesterday, the Minister of Communication for the first time issued a statement on the adoption of that young man. So I'm trying to say that they are following us. And I said that Ambazonians in general, the family of Iwane, they want Iwane back, dead or alive.
Now,
They are on the
just to be
way.
sure, this is actually the image of the divisional officer. Am I correct? What you're watching on the
Yes,
screen right now.
Yeah,
So
we
this is
yes.
think
the
it
kind of,
is.
That's it.
that's the
We
kind
think
of
it is.
treatment. Wonderful,
So
wonderful.
we want him back.
My
We want
question
him
I
back,
want to ask is,
dead.
what will be the interest of Simon Ekpa to pick a Cameroonian divisional officer, or which we call colonial operators, to be treated this way? I want us to talk in those lines a little bit, Barrister Mbisia.
Let me just say this. I don't like speculation. We don't know whether the party did it. As far as I'm concerned, and as far as the Cameroon government is concerned, he was adopted and taken to Nigeria. It's a responsibility of the Nigerian government to bring him in. And Cameroon had told
Yeah,
us publicly that they are doing diplomatic initiatives. So whatever their diplomacy is for them. We don't have to answer those questions for them. And Cameroon
questions
has no
on their behalf.
excuse. Yeah, because they have no
But
excuse for not doing it. But let me just learn. Because if Cameroon could diplomatically negotiate with Nigeria, go adopt Sisiku in a
Yes,
hotel and others, go to Taliban and other places and bring people. They are
and
capable
terrible. Yeah,
of negotiating with the Nigerian government and bringing back Iwane. That's my take. EPA is a
but
gentleman. So they don't bring him. That's their problem. Cameroon
okay.
government owes an explanation to us.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Barrister Fu,
may
Mariana,
I
to
add,
that, please.
let me add a little bit to say that the only reason why this man was killed because he did not pay the ransom, and the Cameroon
Correct.
government did nothing because the family raised 37,000. I learned this. I heard this on a phone call, an audio of a phone call made by the assistant mayor of Diabato to these kidnappers.
Yeah.
And the central point was the money. $37,000 is not enough for them. So since they could not raise the money, they could not come forward with the money, they killed him. Their modus operandi is to kidnap you, you pay the ransom, and then maybe they release you. Or if you cannot pay the ransom, they kill you and send a message. That is what they have done. And
Wonderful.
I suspect that the arrest of Ekpa is linked to this murder.